Hello everybody and welcome back to the Crooked Hour. Today we're going to be doing a little breakdown on the UFC 298 card. Going to be going through the event, prelims to the main event, kind of giving my thoughts, what I think. It was a good card. The main event was dead. But wholesome moment at the end with Amanda Nunes retiring. I'm going to also make a video on that, so that'll be out very soon, talking a lot more on that. But yeah, let's start straight away with Diana Belbita versus Maria Oliveira. Now, I did miss a lot of this fight, but from what I've seen, Diana Belbita did get the better advantages in the fight, in the striking. Maria Oliveira just didn't have the power to kind of keep Diana Belbita off her. It's a nice win for Diana Belbita. Clear win, easy win. Maria Oliveira, just didn't have the power. She had moments on the ground. She did have some little moments on the feet, but I was also surprised in this women's strawweight bout how tired these two were in the last round. Concerning for both of them, but Diana Belbita kind of puts her on a trajectory. Good looking, good on a win. She might be on a few wins now, or maybe she's just coming off one win, but she could be a star just because of the fact that she's not bad looking. Anyway, next up, David Dvorak versus Steve Erceg. Now, I did my picks, and we never got to do Brawls and Brews, where I break down my picks and bets and whatnot. But I did pick Steven Erceg. On my Bet MMA page, I'm pretty sure I lost money on this event, but I did get Steve Erceg, and he looked good, man. He looked good. He did have moments where, he kind of got a little bit rocked, or just had bad moments on the feet. But overall, he looked good. He did look good. His striking looked better than usual. And this is a very impressive performance coming in as your debut. I don't know if he came in on short notice or not. He may have. But still, for a debut performance, now ranked number 10, going to be ranked number 10 in the flyweight division. Good performance, had good moments on the feet. His striking looked good. He didn't land the most strikes, but he landed the better strikes and hurt David Dvorak a few times. And showed good moments on the feet. I think he's a guy to look out for in the flyweight division. I think pair him up with someone ranked below him next, just below him, to kind of test him a little bit more. But great win from Perth's Steve Erceg. What can you say? Good to have new people in the division. Steve Erceg gonna be a star. Look, watch out for these Australian blokes. Because they're coming in hot. Next up, Kyle Nelson versus Blake Builder. This was another dog I was contemplating taking, but I did have Blake Builder. I'm not going to lie to you. I did have Blake Builder in this fight. Kyle Nelson just outstruck him, hurt him a few times, looked good. He was the slower fighter, but he was the harder fighter, and he kind of just took over as the fight went on, landing the better shots, landing the harder shots, hurt Blake Builder a few times, and he got the decision win, and he started pouring it on in the last round. Blake Builder, learning experience this fight can be. He didn't look terrible. He just looked like he was a step under Kyle Nelson. And I feel like something about the Canadian crowd really riled up these Canadians in this card. So, great win by Kyle Nelson as the dog. Next up, Ayman Zahabi versus Aori Kaleng. I missed this fight. I got to rewatch it. I'm doing this just after the main event. So, I did miss this fight. But Ayman Zahabi finished him in the first round, and I saw a clip of Aori Kaleng trying to fight after he's been knocked out. That's a little bit concerning to see. Bro fought round 2 just started. But no, good performance from Ayman Zahabi, round 1 KO, and I think the lines were very close. I think Ayman Zahabi came in as a small underdog towards the end, but he got the dub. Next up, I did watch this one, Miranda Maverick versus Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, because I had Miranda Maverick in parlays, but she got schooled in this fight. I thought Miranda Maverick was going to look better in the grappling, way better than she did. I think that's just all I expected, but Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, another Canadian fighter on the card, looked good, hurt her, won the striking exchange, looked great in the grappling. a great win for her. She outstriked her, landed her takedowns off of Miranda Maverick's takedowns. Like, she had really good takedown defense. It's a great win. I think the reach gave her a massive advantage as well. It is what it is. Jasmine just Vuda vicious. Crashed my parlays, but I can't be mad at it. She did a great job and a fighter to look out for. Next up, Nassourdine Imavov versus Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis was losing this fight, and I thought it was going how I thought it would, but I just got to back my man Chris Curtis. You know, he's a hard man to back because he just is raging. Like, please, Chris Curtis, please don't rage after this fight because it's not your fault. Just say, I'll be back. I had a bad night, I'll be back. And then kind of just leave it at that. Just don't reply to the Twitter trolls. Don't dive into it because it's going to affect you a lot worse than what it should. At the end of the day, losing the fight, never know. People are saying, oh, you're just going to lose the fight anyway. But Chris Curtis is a guy who can land that one shot and the fight will change. Sure, 80% chance he was going to lose that, but you still have that 20%. You never know. He could have went into the pocket and landed a good shot. You never know. But yeah, impressive by Nassourdine Imavov. First guy to take Chris Curtis down in the UFC. He looked good. His grappling looked good. Striking looked good. He's made some improvements from the Sean Strickland fight, I believe. And I think they should run this fight back as soon as they can, as soon as they're cleared, like as soon as they can. This fight should be run back. Great performance from Nassourdine Imavov. I feel sorry for them both. Chris Curtis can't catch a break. Nassourdine Imavov was on the way to winning, bouncing back, couldn't get that. They should just fight again as soon as possible when Chris Curtis recovers from the headbutt. Next up, Marc-Andre Barriault versus Eric Anders. Good fight. Eric Anders surprised me as much as he lost, and especially in the last round he did start to slow down, but his gas tank really surprised me. I don't think we can really doubt his gas tank anymore. He looked good. All credit to Eric Anders, he looked good, but Marc-Andre Barriault just looked a little bit better and really started to pour it out on in that third round. Those body kicks paid off a lot. Striking exchanges. Eric Anders was throwing bombs, but he just couldn't kind of connect clean with Marc-Andre Barriault. I was always like, fuck, if he lands one of these shots clean, Marc-Andre Barriault's going to be feeling it. But Marc-Andre Barriault did a good job of rolling with the punches, blocking the punches, moving out of the way of the punches and avoiding them. Overall, I think Eric Anders should be proud of his performance. He looked better than he has before. And Marc-Andre Barriault showed a new wrinkle in his game. You know, he can really hang in there with these guys and put on a great last round, which we've always known. But yeah, what was it? Round 1, total strikes, 37. So Eric Anders actually outstruck him, but Marc-Andre Barriault landed a really good shot at the start. They dropped him. Second round, same total strikes. Third round, Marc-Andre really picked up the pace at 42 total strikes compared to Eric Anders' 25. Great fight. I hope it wins fight of the night because it should. It was fight of the night in my opinion. Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr. I predicted this fight spot on. I said Dan Ige was going to win by decision, but Nate Landwehr was going to get dropped a few times, and that's exactly what happened. Hard to finish Nate Landwehr. Strong as fuck, Nate the train doesn't give up. The train keeps rolling, even if it's hit a few bumps. And in this case, big fucking bumps. But great performance from Dan Ige. He did what he had to do. Good performance from Nate Landwehr, sticking in there. He kind of showed what we expected, that he can be dropped, especially big shots, can be dropped, can be hurt. But he stayed in there to the decision and unfortunately lost. Dan Ige, though, kind of went how I expected. Cleaner boxing, better boxing. Nate Landwehr has good at knees, though. He does have good knees, and this fight really showed it. Overall, great fight. Another fight of the night contender. I wouldn't say it was as much of a contender as Marc-Andre Barriault versus Eric Anders, but still a great fight nonetheless. Nate the Train, this doesn't take too much stock from him, I believe. Maybe in the picks world, people are like, oh, seeing this happen to him, but his fame, I don't really think he takes too much of a hit here. It's not like he got KO'd in the first round. He still put in a good fight. Lost every single round, in my opinion. And he actually had a good, last round. That was probably his best round, the last round. So that's what I also said. Next up, Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit. Now, I actually changed my pick to Adam Fugit, but he looked off tonight. He did look off. Mike Malott has the power. Adam Fugit, he has that very kicking game, which I picked up on, but I thought it was going to score more. He's kind of just throwing like naked kicks out and getting caught with punches from him, power punches or power kicks from Mike Malott. I also thought Adam Fugit would have a slight grappling advantage. Didn't seem to be the case. Mike Malott seemed to be the better grappler. Yeah, great win by Mike Malott. The Canadian Ian Gary, I'm calling it now, that's the same trajectory he's going to go on as long as he keeps winning. They're probably going to book him up against somebody and then probably give him a ranked fighter, in my opinion. So, yeah, Mike Malott, big star, going to put Canada on the map. Just what Canada needs too. Great win from Mike Malott. Next up, Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. I was so off in this fight. I thought Beneil, just from his run, his 6-fight win streak, fight against Mateusz Gamrot, I thought he's just going to be too smart for Charles Oliveira. He's my lock of the card. He was my lock of the card. I didn't get to do the video talking about it, but he was my lock of the card. But Charles Oliveira, I picked every single Charles Oliveira fight right. His fight against Islam, I picked Islam. His fights before that, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, I've always picked Charles Oliveira. This fight, I picked Beneil Dariush, doubted Charles Oliveira, and I paid for it. Great win by Charles Oliveira. This puts him right back up there. Forget the loss about Islam. This is going to be making people think, I think he could beat Islam now, and I think his striking looked a lot better in this fight and showed really the power that he does really have. We haven't got to see that totally. He's dropped a few people with clean hooks, but I think this fight really showed the power. Beneil, I think he just got caught early in a bad spot by Charles Oliveira, and Charles Oliveira exploited that nicely. Great fight. As long as it lasted. Charles Oliveira, big win. Sorry for doubting you, Charles. I was wrong. Beneil, it sucks for Beneil, man. It sucks for Beneil. He's getting pretty old. I think he's 35 or something. Sucks for Beneil. I don't know what he's going to do after this. Maybe fight another top contender and go from there, because he still hasn't got a title shot. So it's not like he takes too far of a leap back. It's not like he's got a title shot. I mean, say Islam fights Charles again and Charles loses again. Beneil still right there if he can pick up a few wins. Great fight. Charles Oliveira proving everybody wrong once again. Next up, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. I feel bad for Irene Aldana because she just did fuck all and it was boring as fuck. I'm sorry, but Irene Aldana didn't give Nunes a challenge here. She gave Nunes nothing to work with. Nunes just dominated the entire fight. And I picked Irene Aldana because I thought she was going to really bring the fight to Nunes, and that's where we've seen Nunes wilt. But Irene Aldana, the pressure got to her. For sure the pressure got to her. She froze. She was scared to get knocked out, whatever. I think she was just scared of Amanda Nunes. Nunes did everything right. But I feel like she could have got a finish here. If she pressed a little bit more, she could have got a finish, and I feel like that would have just made it all so much better. But she played it safe. She didn't want to get hit by one of those big shots she got hit with in round one. That was Irene Aldana's big strike, one of Irene's best strikes in the whole entire fight by far. Total strikes, 196 for Nunes, 57 for Irene Aldana. That's the story of the fight. 6 takedowns, all successful. Yeah, what can you say? Domination from Amanda Nunes, who is now retired. I'll speak about it a little bit here, but I'm going to make another video about it straight after this one. I'm glad she retired when she did. It's good to see champions retire on top. I like it. I like to see it. I'm interested to see what's going to happen next in the division, though, and I'm going to make a video talking about that. So that's been the card. Overall, decent card. I wouldn't say it's one of the best pay-per-views. If I had to rank it, the pay-per-views so far, I'd be on the lower end, but we did have some entertaining fights. Steven Erceg versus David Dvorak, great fight. Kyle Nelson, Blake Builder, great fight. Ayman Zahabi, great knockout. Jasmine Javudas Vicious versus Marina Maverick was a fun women's fight. Then we had the no contest, which was a bit, how you going? Then we had Marc-Andre Barrial versus Eric Anders, great fight. Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr, great fight. Mike Malott versus Adam Fugic, great performance by Mike Malott. Great performance by Charles Oliveira. I feel like the fights were good, but it just would have been good to have some longer fights, like see the Charles and Beneil fight carry on out a little bit more. The main event between Amanda Nunes and Irene Aldana was a bit more competitive, you know. These things would have added up to a greater card. Anyway, let me know what you thought of this card in the comments. Decent card. Next weekend we got Kennedy versus Vittori. Get excited. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, have a good one.
Give me 5 minutes, I'ma pull up with like 5 niggas. Give me 5 minutes, girl, I'ma be right with you. If you're vibing right.